Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Ash on Comics. I'm Ash. Here's today's comic. Venom 25. In case you couldn't tell by this gigantic freaking number here. It's legacy number 190. I don't know why Venom needs legacy numbers, but I'm not going to go into that. In this issue, a Venom Lethal Protector reunion in the mighty Marvel manner. Oh boy, we'll get into that. I don't understand here why there's two sets of signatures on the cover. It really stands out. I don't get it. Does Marvel even have copy editors? I don't know. But anyways, I know this book has been out for a little while, and I only recently picked it up because I didn't jump right back into picking up comics when things started shipping. I was like, I'm not going to go to the comic book store for like one comic a week. So I got this in my last comic pull last week, read it, and here I am to do a review. So let's get into it. So I'm not going to read this, but in case you care about what's going on in Venom, you can pause, read all that. I'll even blow it up for you. Look at that. Don't say I never did anything for you. The book starts off with a good old Eddie, and he's talking to us. You know, I hear what you all say about me, about us. And it's fine. Honestly, I've been hearing the same question since this all started. Hell, I even heard it from my kid. Is Venom a good guy or a bad guy? I get it. I do. I know we can be a little erratic. We've been on both sides of the line so many times I can't even keep track. It's a fair question is what I'm trying to say. And the answer? I don't know. It's not that easy. And when all this started, when I first got the symbiote and gave myself this cool name, Lord help me, I thought I was doing the right thing. I genuinely thought that killing Spider-Man was the right thing to do. I honestly did. And looking back at it now, God, what was wrong with me? I know, that doesn't answer the question, right? But it kind of does. If you ask me I'm a good guy or a bad guy, well, I mean, I didn't think I was a bad guy when I was trying to kill Spider-Man, so how can I trust myself to answer it now? I think the truth is that I so want to be. I want people to look at me the way they look at him. That's Spider-Man. I've seen it. They see him and they know everything's going to be okay. And they look at me and I don't know. Maybe I don't think I'm good enough to be the good guy. But I'm trying. We're trying every day. And hell, I mean, before I go any further, can we agree that it's been an insane few years for us? Right up top, I lost my job. I was broke and losing my mind, and I was losing everything. For the second time in my life, the universe opened up and dropped a jet black nightmare into my life. And then we learned about the god of symbiotes, about, well, oops, sorry. Forgot to say that was rough. I'll get to that in a bit. And so it goes on, and we get this flashback, and it's basically a summary of the last 24 issues of Venom. Keeps going, then we get back to the talking head thing, and keeps going, And then it's more flashback, more talking heads. It's like, oh, back to the island, and then, oh, we gotta remember what happened. And part of me, when I was reading this, I was like, all right, this is kind of cool, because I haven't read Venom in like 3 months. I totally forget what's going on. I actually went back and had to skim the last issue, and then it kind of brought everything back to me. Then I read this, and I was like, oh, I guess I didn't need to skim the last issue. Eddie's son now has this power to control all symbiotes, kind of like Null, although it's really developing its infantile stage. Carnage has taken over Eddie Brock. His son has come to rescue him, and he's turned the Venom symbiote into this Tyrannosaurus Rex looking thing, because apparently Venom symbiotes, they can become anything if they're not being piloted internally. So if the symbiote is basically wrapped around like a being, then it looks like like a human. Hence Carnage here looks humanoid. But if the symbiote is on its own, not possessing or taking over a body, then it can morph into whatever, including change its size, which doesn't make sense. But what really I don't get is, why do the symbiotes need to create symbiotic relationships with anyone? Why don't they just act on their own? Because if the Venom can turn into this giant monster dinosaur thing, why does it need Eddie Brock? I'm confused. I feel like we're getting out of control with the symbiotes, and they can just do anything, and it's like, really? It's the same problem I have with the Iron Man armors. It's like, why do we even need Tony Stark anymore? Because the suits can just pilot themselves without someone inside them, which doesn't make any sense, because if you're not going to have someone inside the suit, it's just going to be automated. That would be a complete structural, like engineering misdesign. Like, you would have all that internal space that could be used for actual components to make the suit work actually better. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about Iron Man, but it's just, these comic writers are just pushing the envelope, but not in ways that make sense. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. So there's this big battle, Venom versus Carnage, except Carnage is Brock, but Brock is possessed. And that's another thing I don't understand. Like, the symbiotes can just now possess anybody against their will. I don't seem to remember that being the case back in the early days when the original suit was with Peter Parker. The suit bonded with Parker, but Parker had to sort of let it. Like, that was the whole thing. And Parker would, he could sever the bond. Like, he got rid of the suit. It just didn't, like, just take over him, and then Parker couldn't think for himself. Like, the whole thing was that it was like a vampire in a way, and it was like leeching off of him, but in a very subtle way, not a very proactive, like, I just control your every thought and will. So that's kind of weird. So here we see inside, I guess, the consciousness. Eddie's trapped in a cage, and his son shows up and it's like, look, you need to listen to me. I'm here to help you. I got these powers, yada yada. Carnage is like, what? I don't understand. How can you be, and of course the son is super powerful. We got this other new symbiote thing. I just have a feeling that Marvel is setting up a new book for this kid. They're going to have a new character here pretty soon. But we'll see how that goes. I do like the fact that Eddie's got a son. I like that the son has special abilities. I don't like that it's pretty much going to go that the son becomes super uber awesome, ultimate power. It's the whole Franklin Richards thing all over again. It's just, okay. Yeah. And then once he learns to control his powers, then what? So Eddie has his hand chopped off. He wants the suit to grow back, but it can't. Then we go back to, talking to the camera again. But it's not really the camera, it's the Avengers. And look at this shot. Look, just soak in this panel here. Look at Thor. What does Thor look like? A Spaniard? It's a conquistador. Oh man. Iron Man and Black Panther, of course, don't have faces. And look, Mark Bagley, I think he's a bit overrated. You know, I still look at him as like the third stringer that took over after McFarlane and Eric Larson left. He's the guy that was like, hey, my lucky day, I get to do Amazing Spider-Man because the 2 Hall of Fame artists in front of me left. He was good for his time, I guess. Like the fact that he could fill in and do an adequate job was a lot, but he wasn't a superstar himself. There's a reason why he never left the Image. And this is even bad for Mark Bagley standards. Like, look at this. Look at her face. Oh, what's up with Ghost Rider? Oh my God, this new Ghost Rider is stupid looking. At least he drew She-Hulk. He's like, look, I'm not drawing her as a super freak. I am gonna give her a somewhat feminine physique. Like, I don't know how that slipped past Marvel editorial. They're gonna probably cancel him next. But then, you know, we got Carol Danvers in a surprising heterosexual moment here. Is just like, nice to see the beard again, Brock. Carol, what? Like, she's just like swooning over Brock there. That's very uncharacteristic. I kind of liked it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, maybe Donny Cates needs to write Captain Marvel. I don't know. So then it's about Null. It's briefing him on, you know, the upcoming threat. We know we're going to get a giant Marvel event around this. And here we get the first cameo sort of appearance of Virus. It's going to make this book somewhat of a collector's item, but next book should be the first appearance, which is going to mean everyone is going to probably be clamoring for it because of speculators. But this is what I don't get. Like, I really want Stegman, this is the artist here that does this 2-page spread. I really want Stegman to come back to the book. Stegman on Venom is awesome. I love his art much more than Bagley, at least for Venom. But they give him a 2-page spread and then it's like back to Bagley. And it's like, so are you saying that Bagley is not good enough to do? It's like, hey, Bagley, we know you're this legendary guy, somewhat overrated. Well, you know, you're a good guy. You did mean, but put Stegman. We're gonna give him a 2-page. I don't know. That's just kind of an insult. Let Bagley do the whole book or not the whole book. Then the Carnage symbiote sails away and has a little shark fin. And this book was all like, essentially just retro, like reminder, like, hey, what's happened before? Remember, like back in the days before DVR, you got to be kind of older, like the 80s and 90s. They would do like television, like the sitcoms, and then like every couple of seasons they would have this sort of one episode which was like a flashback episode of like everything that's happened up to this point, where the characters would sit around and reminisce and be like, oh yeah, I remember when we did this, and it was like a way of bringing someone up to speed if you just jumped into the television series and you didn't see all the previous episodes. And you know, they didn't have, you know, Netflix, and you didn't watch, you couldn't just click a button and see like the shows. Like, you missed it. Now you could take some time watching reruns, and it would take a while to eventually catch all the episodes when they would come back, but it was a pain in the ass. And this was a good way to bring people up to speed. This is what this issue reminded me of. It was like that. But here's the problem. This is a $5.99 big double-sized issue. But it doesn't feel like it's a big double-sized issue because nothing really happens. It's a lot of this. Just Eddie talking to the camera. More. Okay, here's what happened before. Remember when this happened? Okay, more talk to the camera. Remember when this happened? More talk to the camera. You're paying $5.99 for this. And then here's the thing too. This isn't a big double-sized issue. It's actually a normal-sized issue that just ends with a cliffhanger. Oh, look, the symbiote Carnage is sailing away. But they make it a double size by adding this Venom flashback story by David Michelini and Ron Lim. And I was like, oh. And at first I was like, So they're reprinting an old story because it looks like this is a 90s thing. And Michelini's writing, which I love, is very out of place in the modern style Marvel. And it feels like an old 90s comic. And let me just tell you, it's just a basic story. It's a flashback when Venom was on Venom Island originally, back in the day, and some crooks come to the island. They're trying to hide some goods, and then they run across Venom, and Venom scares them and blows them up and does some stuff. And then the end, Venom goes back to his island. And it's like, it's one of those filler things. Like, hey, we need 20 pages of filler. Can you write something? Oh, yeah, sure. Venom's on a... and it's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not like it's horrible, but Michelini's not like he's inspired writing. So Marvel just charged you $5.99. I think it was $5.99. It might have been $6.99. I don't know. It was a thick book. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get this big, like Absolute Carnage #1. That was an amazing book. Ryan Stegman, cover to cover, tons of stuff. No, this was just flashback of what happened before, plus the other half is just filler. And you're getting double charged. So, thumbs down, Marvel. You could do better. I like Donny Cates. Look at this. Also, 3 pages of letters. Come on. And then, it's not even recent stuff. This letters page was written in March, before they even canceled comics. Devin, whoever Devin is, wrote this letters page. Oh, wait, here's his name. Oh, he's the editor. Good job. You guys just sit around and do nothing, overcharge people. So, that's it. That's Venom 25. If you're not collecting the series, look, it's worth collecting, honestly. Venom 1 through 12 is really fantastic. The only really downside of Venom was the War of the Realms crossover stuff. Everything that Donny Cates has been doing, even when Ryan Stegman left so he could do Absolute Carnage, which kind of was lame, the story never really faltered. It's really done a great job of developing Eddie Brock as a character at this point. After the 12-issue story arc, some of the stuff went a little bit haywire as far as like some contrived adventures. Venom Island was genuinely fun, but this doesn't feel like a wrap-up. This feels like a or an epilogue. I was expecting a big issue 25 double-ish page, double-sized big finale. It's double size, not even double sized. It's double thick, but it's a single comic's worth of just flashback. So, thumbs down. You're probably gonna just get it for the virus if you're a speculator, or to fill your collection if you're collecting it. If you're not collecting it, I kind of still recommend you do. It just sucks that this was what it was. I don't know. Maybe wait till it's in the dollar bin. Or maybe it won't be because you got the virus thing and it's going to stay speculated. You can't win. Thanks for watching.